Welcome to the Deep Dive. We dive into a stack of sources to pull out the key insights, really the most interesting stuff, just for you.
Yeah, and today we're getting into Coldplay.
Exactly. And you might think, okay, Coldplay, I know them.
Hmm.
But we've actually dug up some, well, pretty surprising things about how they've managed this decades-long career and, honestly, how they still end up making headlines in really unexpected ways.
Oh, absolutely. Like just last week, right? July 18th, 2025, there was this moment at their concert in Massachusetts, totally went viral.
Yeah, I saw that. The CEO, Andy Byron.
Yeah, Andy Byron from Astronomer, he's there on the big screen, the Kiss cam or whatever, with a woman who definitely wasn't his wife.
And Chris Martin just calls it out.
Right on stage, he sees them kind of pull apart quickly and goes, oh, look at these two. Either they're having an affair or they're just really shy. And, well,
Turned out he was right.
spot on. And then the internet just exploded, of course.
Of course. What about that fake apology that went around? That was wild.
Totally wild. Someone put out this fake statement, even used a line from Fix You, lights will guide you home.
And ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that one. But Astronomer, the company, they shut that down fast. Said it wasn't real.
It just shows, doesn't it? Decades in, and they're still tangled up in these, huge cultural moments.
Exactly. Which is kind of the perfect setup for our mission today, really.
Yeah, we want to take you on this journey into Coldplay's world. How does a band stay this relevant, break records, keep evolving their sound, their mission, even after all this time?
And we're going to unpack it all. From, how they started right up to being these global titans. We'll hit the surprising facts, the creative shifts, the personal stuff behind the songs you know.
Because sometimes, like you said, the biggest messages come from really personal places.
Mm.
Okay, let's dive in. So where does the story actually kick off?
Okay, so you got to go back. Way back to 1996, London. That's when Chris Martin, singer, piano, guitar guy, met Johnny Buckland, the lead guitar.
University. Yeah, University College London. Like orientation week, freshers week.
Wow. Just meeting like that. Do you think there was something instant there? Like, did they tell this was going to be huge?
Probably not huge right away, but definitely some chemistry. Their first band name was Pictorials.
Pictorials.
Seriously. Sounds a bit like a gym club or something.
Right.
Then Guy Berryman joined on bass, Will Champion on drums. And they actually played their first gig as Starfish.
Starfish. Okay. Slightly better, maybe?
Marginally. But it was their first EP called Safety that really got the labels interested, and that led to them signing with Parlophone Records in '99.
And it's interesting, the sources point out that while there are the four main guys, your manager, Phil Harvey, he's often called the fifth member.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Phil Harvey was crucial. Super important.
How so? Especially early on.
Well, he actually fronted the money for that Safety EP, like his own cash. His belief in them right from the start gave them that stability, that focus, Let them just make music.
Gotcha. So, okay, they're signed. Phil's backing them. Then comes the debut album, Parachutes. July 2000.
Yep, and it just blew up immediately in the UK. Massive hit.
But here in the US, it was different. Took a while.
Yeah, more of a slow burn over here.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that happens sometimes.
Was there something specific that helped it connect later?
Totally. Remember the Garden State soundtrack?
Oh, yeah. Great soundtrack.
Well, their track Don't Panic was on it. That soundtrack came out in 2004, which, wow, that's going to be 20 years next year.
Crazy.
And that soundtrack was such a big deal culturally, it put Coldplay in front of tons of new listeners in America.
Right. Now, around that time, early 2000s, there were the comparisons.
Yeah.
Especially with Radiohead, right?
Oh, constantly, yeah. Particularly after Radiohead put out Kid A.
Which was a big shift for Radiohead, sonically.
It's a huge shift.
Yeah.
Very experimental. So yeah, some people saw Coldplay as kind of filling the gap, offering that big anthemic, maybe more pre-Kid A Radiohead sound.
Like the Benz or Arcade Computer era Radiohead.
Sort of, yeah. That kind of vibe. But I think it's important. Coldplay really quickly started carving out their own thing. They weren't just imitators.
And they definitely cemented that with the follow-up, didn't they? A Rush of Blood to the Head, August 2002.
Oh, massively. That album was even bigger critically and commercially than Parachutes.
What changed musically? What stands out there?
Well, the piano. It really steps forward on that record. Becomes like a main star in their sound.
Oh, okay. Giving them that signature sort of melodic feel.
Exactly. That expansive emotional sound that you really associate with them now. It just opened up their songwriting, I think.
And lyrically, our sources mention this theme of existential paranoia
Hmm.
creeping in with Chris Martin's writing.
Yeah, definitely. You hear it in a track like Politic.
Right, tell me about that one. The timing was significant.
Incredibly significant. They recorded it just 2 days after 9/11.
Wow.
And the lyrics are very direct, like open up your eyes. But the music itself is really kind of pummeling, almost cynical sounding musically.
That's a really interesting contrast. Earnest lyrics, harsh music.
It is. It's quite raw for them, especially then. It sort of foreshadows some of their later, more outward looking stuff.
And you also had tracks like In My Place, that plea for forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
and The Scientist,
Hmm.
such a classic about a failed relationship. Right?
Yeah. And that video, moving in reverse, it's iconic.
Almost like a weird seatbelt ad at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of. But yeah, both the album and the single Clocks won Grammys in 2003. They were properly established by then.
Okay, so moving into the X and Y era. Released June 2005. Huge anticipation for this one.
Massive. And it was actually delayed, wasn't it?
Yeah, for extra polishing, apparently, which actually affected EMI's stock price.
That's right. Shows you how big they become. Their album delay could literally move markets.
Incredible. And lyrically, the sources say Chris Martin shifted a bit here. From existential dread to...
More like romantic dread.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of songs dealing with difficult relationships, that kind of thing.
Were there any cool musical nods or samples on this album?
Yeah, a couple of neat ones. The main guitar riff in Talk, that's actually lifted from Kraftwerk.
No way. From Computer Love.
That's the one. A nice little electronic homage. And then Speed of Sound. Well, everyone pretty much called it Clocks, too.
Because of the piano. Very similar.
Very similar piano line, yeah. Instantly recognizable.
But the real standout, the phenomenon from X and Y, has to be Fix You.
Oh, absolutely. Still one of their biggest anthems. And the story behind it is just heartbreakingly personal.
He wrote it for Gwyneth Paltrow, his wife at the time.
Yeah, right after her father, Bruce Paltrow, passed away.
And that line, lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you.
Ah.
Knowing the context just adds another layer.
It really does. And Chris Martin himself reflected later, didn't he? Saying something like, grief doesn't actually get fixed. It just shrinks over time.
Wow, that's quite profound. Shows a real maturity there, acknowledging that complexity.
Definitely. It wasn't just about easy answers anymore.
Okay, gotta ask about this funny bit from that time. X and Y was the world's best-selling album in 2005, right?
Yep, massive seller globally.
But Speed of Sound, the single, it got kept off the #1 spot in the UK by Crazy Frog.
Yes, by Crazy Frog's version of Axel F. Can you imagine?
How did the band take that, being beaten by, well, a frog?
They were apparently really good-humored about it, made jokes about how hard the frog had worked, playing all the pawns down under.
That's brilliant. Good to know they could laugh about it.
Shows they didn't take themselves too seriously, even then.
So after X and Y, they really cemented their place. But the next album, Viva La Vida or Death and All His Friends, from June 2008, this felt like another level up.
Totally. This is where they became like proper titans. Brian Eno produced it.
The Brian Eno, wow.
Yeah, and it paid off. Huge commercial success. Best reviews they'd ever had up to that point. And the title track, Viva La Vida, that was their first U.S. #1 single.
Finally hit the top spot stateside. What were the stories like on this album? Felt a bit more conceptual.
Yeah, kinda. Viva La Vida itself, the song, the lyrics are surprisingly literal about this king who's lost everything, now sweeping the streets.
Like a fall from grace narrative.
Exactly. Then you had Violet Hill, which was seen as a bit of a mild diss track aimed at Fox News.
Really? Getting political.
A little bit, yeah. And Strawberry Swing, which is just this beautiful, joyful song inspired by Chris Martin's mom and her time in Zimbabwe. Much more personal.
So a real mix of themes. Grand narratives, personal stories, bit of politics.
Yeah, broadening their scope. Although it's funny, around this time, Chris Martin said something about bands shouldn't go on past age 33.
Huh. Did he stick to that? He must have been around that age then.
Well, clearly not. He changed his tune later, thankfully. Said it was more about treating everything you do like it's the last thing you'll do. Put everything into it.
That's a much better philosophy for longevity.
Definitely more sustainable.
Okay, let's jump forward a bit. May 2014, we get Ghost Stories.
Ah, yes. The Uncoupling album.
Right. It came out just a couple of months after Chris Martin and Gwyneth Paltrow announced their conscious uncoupling in March 2014.
And while they never explicitly said this album is about the breakup, Chris did talk about it focusing on the lasting ramifications of past actions and the capacity for unconditional love. You can read between the lines.
For sure. Sonically, it felt much more stripped down, reflective, right?
Actually, yeah. which makes A Sky Full of Stars stand out even more.
Totally. It's like this huge early 2010s style rave banger dropped right in the middle of this quiet, introspective album.
It's such an odd placement, but it kind of works, gives it this burst of euphoria amidst the melancholy.
Memorable for sure.
Yeah.
Then, not long after, December 2014, they swing back the other way with A Head Full of Dreams.
Yeah, a total shift. Back to that big, bright, euphoric pop sound. Really boisterous.
And some big collaborations on that one, too.
Definitely. Beyonce on Him for the Weekend.
Iconic.
And, maybe surprisingly for some, Gwyneth Paltrow herself sings on Everglow.
Wow, even after the split. Interesting.
Shows a certain kind of relationship, I guess.
Okay, then we get to 2019 and everyday life. Chris Martin called this one raw and pure.
Yeah, he said it was the first time they really said what we think about some things. Called it an outer-directed record.
So tackling bigger global issues more directly.
Exactly. And a lot of it seems connected to his own upbringing, his mom's background in Zimbabwe, his experiences at boarding school.
What kind of experiences?
Well, he talked really openly about struggling with religion, with sexuality, how he was terrified of being gay because of the punitive religious environment he was in.
That's heavy stuff to unpack.
For sure. But he said, eventually realizing, so what if I am gay, even though he isn't? That thought kind of liberated him from that fear. And you feel some of that questioning, that search for meaning in the album.
And musically, they weren't afraid to be direct either. That track, Trouble in Town.
Right. Using that actual audio sample of a Philadelphia police officer's racist rant from 2013.
It's incredibly powerful. Just builds the whole song around it.
Yeah.
Very bold move.
Very bold. And speaking of bold moves, they decided not to tour Everyday Life, didn't they?
Yeah, that was huge news at the time. Why was that?
It was a conscious decision. They wanted to figure out how to make their tours environmentally sustainable. Basically put their money where their mouth was on climate change.
So they took time off touring to develop a green show.
Exactly. Which they did.
Yeah.
They really became leaders in the industry on that front, setting a new standard.
That's really admirable. Okay, let's move to the album before the latest one, Music of the Spheres. October 2021. Bit of a concept album.
Yeah, based on this ancient Greek idea, Musica Universalis. The music of the spheres, basically. The idea that planets and stars moving create this cosmic harmony.
Sounds very Coldplay, big universal themes.
Totally. And again, strategic collaborations were key here.
Like the one with BTS, My Universe.
Yeah. Now, some critics saw that as, maybe a bit cynical, a craven attempt to get a hit.
By tapping into the BTS army.
Right. But you can also see it as just smart, leveraging that huge fan base, sure, but also creating this genuinely global, unifying pop song. It worked.
And visually, they had fun with this album too, right? The puppets?
The puppets, yeah. For the beautiful video, they used these characters called the Weirdos, created by the Jim Henson Company, added this lovely kind of whimsical cosmic vibe.
Nice touch.
Yeah.
And musically, any standouts for longtime fans?
Oh, gotta talk about Color Chura, The Closer. Many fans feel it's their best final track since maybe Death and All His Friends from Viva.
What makes it so special?
It's epic. It's their longest song ever. It's got these complex shifts in time signature. The rhythm keeps changing.
Keeps you on your toes.
Totally. Lush orchestral bits and, importantly, a proper, goddamn guitar solo, as one review put it. Just really ambitious and beautiful.
Sounds incredible. And then their most recent album, Moon Music, just came out in October 2024. Continuing those spacey themes.
Yep, keeping that cosmic journey going.
So looking back across this whole journey, all these albums, these shifts, what's the legacy shaping up to be beyond just the huge sales figures?
Well, the figures are pretty mind-blowing. You can't ignore them. Over 100 million records sold globally.
Wow.
Countless #1s, Grammys, Brit Awards. They've got the hardware. And some cool Guinness World Records, too.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Things like being the first act to sell over 1 million digital albums in the U.S., most Brit Awards for a group, highest chart debut for a UK group in the U.S. with that BTS track.
Impressive stats.
And maybe the biggest one recently, highest attendance for a music tour ever, for the Music of the Spheres tour. Just staggering numbers of people seeing them live.
That live show reputation is huge for them, isn't it?
Absolutely. People talk about the energy, the visuals, the whole immersive experience. It's a massive part of their appeal.
And culturally, they're just embedded now. Like having a place in the National Portrait Gallery, a Royal Mail stamp.
Yeah. And getting the key to the city of El Paso with official Coldplay days declared there in June 2025. That's pretty unique recognition.
It really is. So it's the sales, the awards, the live shows, the cultural presence. But Also that evolution you mentioned.
Exactly. And it comes back to Chris Martin's own perspective shift, I think. He talks now about not needing to be the biggest band in the world anymore.
Right. What's the goal now then?
He says it's about being the best us in the world and trying to reach whoever wants to be reached by being, in his words, totally and unashamedly of service to the people that are listening.
Being of service, that's a really interesting way to frame it. Less about ego, more about connection.
Seems like it. A shift from pure ambition to maybe purpose.
So after digging into all this,
Hmm.
it's pretty clear Coldplay's journey is fascinating. They face the comparisons, the criticisms, but they just keep adapting, keep connecting,
Hmm.
from that early angst to tackling global sustainability. Still breaking records, still relevant. Which kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? In this crazy, fast-paced world with so much noise, what actually makes a band achieve that legendary status? And how does having that clear, evolving sense of purpose, like Coldplay seems to have developed, allow an artist to keep reinventing themselves and finding success, really on their own terms?